Hello everyone, my name is Boris, bringing you another board review. Today we'll be jumping in game with fan favorite streamer Tleyds on the new patch, and I had a quick glance at the board he was playing and it seemed quite interesting. Therefore, let's see how we get to the spot and how we ended up to finish the game. Now, had a little bit rougher start at the very start of the patch, however, at the time of recording this I've checked and he's already managed to pretty much climb back into the Challenger Elo. We're going to be playing in the Gwen's encounter, which means that there are going to be quite aggressive item slams, therefore the lobby tempo is going to be high, and which is especially characteristic in the very high elo. Therefore, it's going to be a lot of early pressure applied. Also, we can see him already checking the new stats. As for the meta currently, one comp to definitely look out for would be the Slayer's comp. As with the recent Ambessa spell adjustments, she's become a quite pivotal threat. We're going to slam items here in order to unlock LeBlanc. For our augment options, we have Augmented Power, which would be a little too slow in such a high tempo encounter as Gwen. Plus, we have opted to unlock LeBlanc with a Spark Slam, which is a slightly suboptimal item for the endgame board. Therefore, we're definitely looking to play something around the tempo. Air Axiom would mean us be playing into AD, therefore we probably would be defaulting branching out here at this spot right now. Item grab bag could give us a little bit more of extra tempo. Slightly magical roll is a generally very strong augment, had provide us a 2-star 2 cost, provide us with a spatula that could also play into something. Free rerolls, extra econ. Generally all the options are good, with the lowest one being perhaps the pure gold. However, do we get a spat and a component, which would also allow us to perhaps complete another item. But generally, spatula item could be treated as an extra item. Now, we're going to also opt to unlock Graves, just by transitioning items to the TF. An interesting play, therefore, let's see. If we also happen to have the Forger drop, we could perhaps consider making this into an Evoker emblem, but right now we have a Bilgewater emblem, therefore we could try to see if we can cook up a board with that. Try to get the 5 Bilge and 7 Bilge online faster. As Bilge being generally also a tempo comp, it's quite nice, and then give us an option to generate extra resources. Yeah, we're going to opt to slot in extra Bilge, and we're able to pick up a Blitzcrank too, which is going to fit on it nicely. Opted to pass up on picking up the LeBlanc, therefore, since the slightly magical roll let us down, okay, we're going to be playing around this Bilgewater line. Queuing into an Echo, Kiana 2. Did you have a Void Staff Slam? Now, generally with this Kiana and Briar opener, you'll definitely be looking to play into some form of a Slayer board. Now, another thing to note about the board, since it's going to be so popular in the coming meta, is that getting GP3, since the Bilgewater nerfs actually the Serpent gains, is going to be quite hard. Therefore, it's by the default game plan, you're probably looking to go to level 8 and cap around your 2-star 4 cost. Now, we're fighting another slightly magical role player, which I would assume have gotten the Nico 2 from it, one of the better high rolls you can get. Therefore, unfortunately, our tempo plan has fallen a little short. As said, very high tempo in these high challenger lobbies with the Gwen's encounter. Now we do get another pan. Now thing to note that the Gwen scissors cannot break apart these emblems. Therefore, whatever emblems we take, we are stuck with. Now, if we opted to slam this pan, we would be able to get a Juggernaut emblem. Now, I would assume that the reason why we might be considering to be playing around also these emblems is generally if you are making a spatula item, you're sacrificing an extra component. However, the encounter giving us extra components gives us the extra power. Now, we queue into someone Void Opener that already has a Belveth unlocked. Definitely going to be a very contested unit already in this lobby. And she's going to be at least a flavor of the week. Otherwise, I would be looking to play around comps such as maybe Junara still should be quite prominent in the meta. Lysandra Seraphine has had some nerfs, but now Lysandra is a more prominent carry. What really got nerfed about the comp is the acceleration gate and the bug fix of Disruptor giving more damage through being affected by flurry or damage amp. However, the comp itself, now that it's less contested, should be quite consistent in the correct spots. Kaisa Void should be good, however, you have to be more playing into probably the Bruiser variant, as Kaisa has gotten nerfs. and the Rift Herald has some nerfs. You cannot just default lose streak, but perhaps you were more looking to play from a win streak. Otherwise, Warwick should be quite good. Callista should still be very good from the Viego 2 opener. Viego Hero going to be particularly good. Now let's see what we opt to do here. We have also picked up our 5 build slotted in already. Going to try to farm Serpents. With the TK adjustments, TK should be able to get TK online quite soonish. Especially if we're able to get 5 builds early like this, and maybe we would be hoping to high roll a MF in our shop. Not exactly sure what we would be looking to complete our emblem. Going to opt to slam a BT. Now, as with this bilge comp, we're generally trying to get as many kills as we can, therefore we're not just going to slam items. The comp can use many items if we opt to go for something like a 7 bilge. However, we also could be considering playing into something like a Volibear Rise comp with the emblem we've gotten. Now coming up in augments, epic roll down, slightly nerfed and definitely something you would looking to hard stabilize on 8. Now with the level 9 leveling costs being reverted, we could also probably be considering to play this bilge comp into level 9 if we're able to stabilize, as that's how this comp is going to win out and be able to cap with the extra items, with the extra unit quality. Gain 21 gold, good econ option now. However, we're already hovering spreading roots as we've got a one emblem, and we have a pan. If we get more, we're able to just use these as items. We want tempo. This could salvage our spot as we are a little lower on HP right now and wanted to get the extra resource generation going on. Therefore, I'm probably looking into that. And yeah, Trifecta dead. Pretty much dead augment, let's be real. And tons of stats. Just not going to complete it. As with right now, we definitely want more and more items in this build comp, as if you are able to get to the end state, you just have so many units to itemize, plus this just simply provides you with more and more tempo. Going to pick up the Captain's Brew here, still extremely strong item. Queuing into a Rek'Sai 2, which hopefully is not able to get on our backline, however she's just so tanky with these 3 items, with the Titan's Resolve, it's going to be taking us down. So it looks like we're going to have to be playing from a spot of where we have to stabilize, either on level 7 or hardly on level 8. Do get offered the Belvet ourselves, however, we do not have a Void attack in. Rageblade would serve her as a decent item, but then we do not exactly have a plan to transition into stage 4. Therefore, probably not going to be looking into that. Just going to hold the line here for now. Playing into someone who appears to most likely be playing into Warwick. I would believe that to be a good line. If you are racking an opener right now, I would consider playing into a Warwick and stabilizing on perhaps if you do high roll a Jinx, we can look to even push level 7 on 3-2. But then generally, if we are going to be playing from a lose streak opener, we are going to want to at least win 2 rounds on stage 3. Able to pick up another pan. So Tleyds is just picking every pan and spat and this is everything he can see. Definitely an interesting way to play around here, as we did not have a floating component. And we're just going to opt to slam the Tactician's Crown. I'm going to slot in that Belvet for now. It's going to pair us nicely with the Gangplank, and hopefully we are able to string at least together some unit kills through the item advantage right here, as our board otherwise is a little bit weaker, and it's just going to be better a holder of this Rageblade than a single star TF. So it looks like we are considering playing into some form of a Volibear board. Definitely can to do so with the playing around this Failure emblem, and the Aeon is going to be able to attack and set. Then we can attack in the Wukong. Now from the build shops, we are holding on our Serpents. Are we perhaps holding on to just being able to buy an item as soon as we get to level 7? I would assume, level 7 bilge. I would kind of assume so. And yeah, here we are playing into another person playing around Warwick. Once you're able to get that Warwick on, playing from a lose streak, you should definitely be able to pick up 2 rounds. However, now we have broken our streak, we are still quite low. Therefore, we will need to see a way of stabilizing our board quite hard. Going to level 7 here, a little bit on the broker side, but we do need to get that Fizz online. Able to also pick up an Ambessa, which we could perhaps put in. Do high roll of Wukong and a Swain. Definitely something that could perhaps salvage our spot just a little bit. going to opt to break apart all the slammed items, as that would just enable us to perhaps make a better Belvet slams. We are going to get another pair of scissors coming in, which should allow us to even break apart another set of items that we opt to slam for tempo. So yeah, it does seem that we are looking to hold on to our Bilgewater Serpents in order to use them on an item immediately at 7 bilge. And for our last augment, know your enemy, decent combat option, particularly since here if you're able to scout, we have the fizz. If we had items on them, we should be able to position. Ascension has received some buffs due to duration time. However, still, we're not playing around the stall comp. We're not playing around particularly something like a Rageblade's main carry. Exclusive customization in this spot could provide us with another item. Plus, we are on the broker side. I would think we're definitely looking for some form of an econ at this spot in order to stabilize our board. Reinforcement is a tempting option, but has received some gold nerfs. Swordsmith, again, good augment if you're lacking the damage items. However, we are not lacking on the DPS items that much at the moment. I feel like we are lacking some gold. Therefore, I'll be considering between these two, as that would allow us to get online an MF2 Real Sun as well. Alright, so we're going to go with exclusive customization, able to pick up an MF pair already. Now, if we are able to 2-star this MF, we should be able to become quite stable. I'm going to opt to slam the alchemy item chest for a third tank item, as we are lacking in that department at the moment. Able to pick up a 2-star Brom, so we're going to transition items there. Now, we are still on 7 bilges. It seems like we opted to give up the... I believe it's the fizz that's not on our board. Now, it seems that the lobby is quite contested, but unfortunately we do toss another round to a Belveth comp. Able to attack in 7 bilge. Alright, so it looks like we're just going to, yeah, we're going to toggle the 7 bilge. Able to get the 2-star MF from our shop. That's how we are able to stabilize, given that we pooled our resources. Yeah, so we're just going to drop to 7, to like toggle in 7 bilge whenever necessary. Playing against the Unara board with a mess hall, so definitely a little scary of a combination. Is going to be able to take us down with that backline access from the mess hall. But we have the Volibear unlocked as well right now. Going to opt to go for another Glovin in the form of an Orn. Now we are a little lower on the HP side, so I'm not sure if farming for another Orn artifact is the greatest of the plays. However, we could just stack out that Ilaoi one in form of a Volibear most likely. Or, yeah, right, so we stack out Ilaoi, stack out a Sejuani, able to play 5 bilge Freljord like this. Get our last item. I would assume we... Alright, so we're just going to slam a TG. Yeah, neatly complete our items. I would have considered making a IE here, but this is just going to overall get us the more combat strength on the board. Plus we can break apart the MF items if we happen to get another glove. Volibear 1 still quite strong in stage 4. And hopefully we're able to close the stage out at least on a little 2 win streak. Still, even though we have tossed so many rounds, still by playing the strongest board, we have preserved quite a bit of an HP. Also the neat thing here with the Bilgewater Spat, we're able to use the Bilgewater item on the fiddle that's going to apply the Captain's Brew quite nicely. And it's the same way, if you toss the Bilgewater emblem on something like a 3 cost, you're able to use the Bilgewater dupes on them. So we're able to string a 2 streak together right now. Going to position in order to unlock set. Also able to pick up a TK, so just going to use the Bilgewater resources. Could have considered feeding like the Rumble here to a TK, I would assume. Could have been quite neat to already start speeding him a little bit. Pick up the set. Now let's see how we transition this board and what shape does it take. I would assume we're dropping out of, so yeah, we're dropping the 5 bills, going to play for 4 bruisers. Looks like. Yeah, going to play 4 bruisers around the Brom. Keep the Thorn and to hopefully farm us another artifact. You're going to slam a Spark. So TK does some AP damage, so I guess it's not that bad. And we opted to go for a chain, and TK farmed us another chain. Now I believe that loot orb up there is going to also be ours. Get a belt. So TK already farming us 2 components. Guy has Come back swinging with an extra force. Going to go for a Bramble West Slam and just move the open belt to the Ornn. Push now with the level 9 changes reintroduced. We're able to push level 9 quite early already. With the extra resources we have some managed to generate them by slightly rolling on stage 4 and capitalizing on the early stabilization of MF2. Slot in the Targon to unlock Rise. Very neatly putting together board together. And now we're going to be able to move something like that Captain's Brew onto the Rise, or Ornarfer comes in as well. Blighting Jewel. Just going to give us some more AP on that Rise. Pick up a dupe here. Now, perhaps we are considering to... No, we do not even really have a Nautilus on our board, so just going to, I would assume, to use it for extra gold. Now queuing to what happens to be a Neko reroll instead. Okay, I assume the player saw that there is a person playing for a Warwick, so they're not going to go for it. Now, are we going to pick up another emblem? Alright, no, we're not. We want to sort our anti-heal situation out, as we are lacking that, and also this gives us a Senna pair. Now we have opted to drop down to 3 Bilge. I'm gonna roll down a little bit. Able to move that. Oh, so we are giving up on the Rise, so we're going to value the 5 Bilge higher. As we... Blighting Jewel in general should be a little stronger on the Fiddle for sure, as he does some tick damage. It's an interesting play to note that we are deviating off from the line, and with 0 and 1 life, we're definitely looking to finally get some upgrades, and we're able to do so. We're going to use the build shop to generate us a little bit extra of a gold. Would ideally want to pick up this Wukong too. A little bit late on the dupe, as we do not have any 3 cost to do it, and we're 1 gold short, and we definitely want to hang on to this pair. So we're going to gamble that we're going to win these fights. We're doing a scout round, fighting into a Mel 1, able to take them down, thankfully. So this should give us a Wukong 2 now. And now our board has definitely starting to come online with the Volley 2 coming in. If we are able to hit the Tahm Kench 2 and the Senna 2, we are definitely playing extremely strong board. Also on a set pair right now. Able to get the TK2 for the items, going to transition the items to the Wukong 2 is going to be better holder than the Ornn, and just toss the TG on the set. So yeah, just by purely seeing how many items we can use in this high capped state, this is why we prefer the item augment so much. Able to take down the Vanquisher Belvet, that's a neat combo on the Belvet. She can definitely generate quite a lot of resources from those extra attacks. Have made our way in top 4, and the next 2 fights should most likely decide the whole game. Get another Blighting Jewel farm by the Ornn. Able to pick up a 2-star Ornn, but some extra HP buffs. I would see maybe he's a little bit of a better tank, even though we have 4 Bruiser in. Definitely a tanky frontline now, fighting against the Warwick Jinx. Warwick Jinx generally a comp that wants to stat check you. However, at this point we just have so much wheat in front of this Warwick that even though the mess hall is not going to be too big of a problem for our backline, as we're just overpowering the board with the item advantage we have. And this secures us the top 2. Trying to see if we can get any of these extra upgrades. Can also feed the Tahm Kench. Fortunately unable to upgrade and rest any of our board. Slightly roll to see if we can hit any set 2. Swap the TK side in hopes that we are able to pick up the Shelly. TK seems to be attacking there, so this is definitely going to stall this Slayer comp. They are on the other side. And I would assume that to be a misplay for them, but we are able to pick up a win. Now with the Slayer comp, we definitely would have wanted to be able to attacking the same side here, I would believe, as if Tleyds is recognized, move that TK in front and able to stall them. But definitely a very interesting gameplay from him, recognizing that his win condition is having so many itemized carries and very flexibly playing around his emblems. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something new, just like I did, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.